So Bud Light is coping massively. We've been talking about it for the past couple of days, but Modelo has in fact overtaken Bud Light as the #1 best-selling beer in America. So Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch in general, is enlisting the help of the spin media that's out there in CNN because absolutely nobody cares about their coverage on anything else. They ran out of good, fresh Trump stories to cover or spurg out over. So they decided, you know what? We're going to be here and we're going to talk about Bud Light and how those goddamn dastardly conservatives are getting all of this stuff wrong, guys. CNN absurdly spins Bud Light's epic fall on flat-out changing tastes, dismisses Mulvaney boycott. Listen, man, that was the flashpoint. I think that, and we've talked about this before, it's definitely evolved past a simple being mad at a trans influencer boycott. It went to Bud Light betraying their base, not understanding the situation, rolling out a pathetic apology after a pathetic apology, and then also blaming the customers. It's like, no, you guys are stupid and you just end up buying misinformation. You know, it'll really clear your name. Going to CNN in order to tell the honest side of this story. That'll really help shed the dis and misinformation label that you were hoping to get past. Anywho, a CNN genius, yo, red state, my guys, actually blamed flat-out changing tastes in beer and clever advertising by Mexico's Modelo Especial, which recently took over the top spot for the reason that the boycott, the trends, the sales trends, because no, there's no boycott out there for Bud Light. Shut up. Did I mention a CNN clown also blamed a growing affinity for Mexican beer and spirits? Can you cite the sources? Because how are Corona's numbers doing? Isn't Corona under the InBev umbrella? I think so. While summarily dismissing the brutally effective. There we go. I'm just thinking about the words that pop up in the thumbnails too often. Over Bud Light's disastrous decision to hook up with transgender creep Dylan Mulvaney. Oh, I'm sorry. First of all, actually, I'm not. I'd like to take this moment to apologize for absolutely fucking nothing, CNN brewmeisters. People don't drink any light beer for the exquisite taste. They do it because it's cheap and they want to get fucked up real quick. This is one of two key reasons the ongoing boycott against Bud Light has been so devastatingly successful. Similar light beer brands are readily available. Second, the disastrous financial consequences of a parent company, AB InBev, have led to a market cap devaluation of roughly 30%. Totally makes sense, but my caveat is, of course, while they do point out one of the big reasons where, yeah, there is a multitude and a plethora of different choices that are out there that is of equivalent price point and taste of Bud Light, there's a couple of things I'd like to attach to that as well. The general sentiment that people are pretty much done with all of this pride, trans, whatever the heck, degenerate stuff. Most people are, just starting to move on from this. It's like, okay, that's wonderful. Okay, whatever you want to do behind closed doors, that's up to you. Just, not in public, you creeps. You're all fucking weird. Can you just go do this somewhere else? And now they're just actively going, no, if you're just going to go ahead and slap a rainbow on this shit, it ain't for me. What's the alternative? That's what you get from half of the population. And it's probably even worse in some other areas because you also have the gay side of this stuff, the LGBTQ+. You didn't stand by our trans queens. So now if you're Target, we're going to call in bomb threats across the country. When was the last time you heard of that? It's not like they haven't stopped at all. Or if you're Bud Light, well, hell, you have gay bars that don't even bother stocking the shit anymore. But at least you got Garth Brooks on your side, right? And then secondly, adding caveats to this, the absolute betrayal of your customers. They didn't want this stuff. This was a total 180 from the people who were actually reliably buying your drinks. You wanted to appeal to another base? Well, guess what? Now you are. And you also have to recognize and realize that, that's a much smaller population percentage than, regular workaday Americans. Big shift that you have right there. Back, to the most trusted name in news, as reported by Newsbusters, CNN chief business correspondent Christine Romans appeared on Wednesday morning's CNN News Central with anchor John Berman to attempt to explain why Modelo's takeover is the new most popular beer in America. The ever-dour Berman kicked off the festivities. So this morning, after 2 decades, a new top-selling beer in the United States, Mexican lager, Modelo Especial, was the top-selling beer last month. month, overthrowing Bud Light. There are a couple of things that are at play here, including flat-out changing tastes, but also the backlash from social media posts by transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. CNN chief business correspondent Christine Romans is here with the details. First and foremost, yo man, run and cover like that, people don't like the beer anymore. Sure thing. If you can cast your minds back to the time before Dylan Mulvaney was the most successful beer advertiser in history, there was already a stigma associated with light beer. It was always referred to as just basic piss water with a little bit of a buzz afterwards. So to say that people over the course of 2 months all of a sudden realize that, oh God, this shit sucks, that's a little disingenuous. Romans went full-on clown world. All right, so what did this bitch have to say? Wish I had a wig to put on or something like that, or, just like a honky nose. Hi there, John. Well, yeah, Modelo prevails, pardon the pun, over the king of beers. No, Budweiser is the king of beers. Bud Light is the king of rears. Dethroned here. Bud Light is the most recent month. Bud Light share of the market was less than Modelo. So it's lost its top standing here. 8.4% of beer sales in May belong to Modelo. Only 7.3% Bud Light. That's a difference, isn't it? That's 1.1 percentage points. They talk to their fucking audience like they're stupid. Holy. So that's a big shit. That's a big shift right there. Is that what she tells the kid that was born to a surrogate that she claims is her own biological kid? That's a big shift right there. That's a big one. Now you're right, there's some changing tastes happening, and also this month is May, so that there's Cinco de Mayo. I love my not next door neighbors. I love my landscaping crew. They make the best tacos. And I love the Cinco de Mayo. My personal favorite is Miracle Whip. There's also a real clever advertising promotion campaign from Modelo. And changing tastes. Fucking Christ, you point out that promotional campaigns have a big influence on how profitable and how good the sales for a company are going to be, and then you just go ahead and gloss over, no, people just want to buy Mexican beer because of Cinco de Mayo, some fucking made up cocksucking holiday. It would just be the exact same justification if there was an upswing in blue titty milk purposes. Well, May the 4th will be with you, but Luke Skywalker drank a lot of blue titty milk, so that's why the sales are so far up. A fucking retarded logic here. Yeah, on changing tastes, analysts tell us that already there's been an growing affinity to Mexican beer and spirits for some time now. That's sort of the tipping point you're seeing here. That is absolutely fucking absurd. Yeah, prior to its epic fall, Bud Light had been the top-selling beer in America since 2001. Now, all of a sudden, over the course of one fucking month, which, yes, you can go and take a look at the old sales charts that were there. Yeah, Bud Light was still steadily growing. Modelo Especial was number 2, but there was a huge fucking gap between the two. And for them to just overtake it over the course of a month on various different metrics, monetary and volume, like, come on, man. You got to do better than that. You understand. There's CNN panders to their audience and talks to them like they're absolute school children, which would not be able to purchase any beer. So it's a little bit, counterproductive in order to teach them about it. It's kind of like chopping off your dick and balls. You want to talk about that to kids. Well, hey, man, you give them the local anesthetic that is the 4.5% alcohol beer. Oh, great. Fantastic. Shit goes hand in hand, right? But apparently this went down on Wednesday. And then a little bit earlier today, a couple of hours ago, a Bud Light CEO decided to come out with a statement. So I guess CNN, once again, if you report on something but nobody's watching, does anybody actually hear the message? No, of course not. Bud Light brewers want to focus back on beer after transgender. Oh God, this is going to be so fucking funny. Stung by the backlash from U.S. political conservatives. This is a reprint from Bloomberg. Oy vey. So yeah, they're not going to be any more honest than CNN. Just saying. And we've kind of dispelled the entire myth that it's just those goddamn conservatives that are out there. Over its collaboration with the transgender influencer to promote Bud Light, Anheuser, Busch, InBev pledged on Thursday that it would turn the conversation back to beer with its summer advertising campaign. I'm sure, just like you guys were trying to do with that stupid, a little bit of chicken fried fucking country music, central cast and country music ill-fated ad, fantastic. Yeah, we're just going to try to brush this under the rug. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We recognize that over the last 2 months, the discussion surrounding our company and Bud Light has moved away from the beer, and this has impacted our consumers, our business partners, and our employees. Anheuser-Busch InBev North American CEO Brendan Whitworth said in a statement, "Yo, man, if you would have just said this off rip," because he was the first executive to make a statement, a couple of weeks after the Mulvaney shit hit the fan. That's what you would have said there. It's like, mistimed that one. Shit sucks, yo. But then you guys had to pile on top of that. So yeah, maybe a little bit too little, too late. The ad campaign, which begins next week. Oh, I can't wait to see that shit and roast the fuck out of it. God, that's gonna be fun. Will reinforce that Bud Light is easy to drink with a butt bong and easy to enjoy. Exactly, especially if you shake it up and then open up cans right in your face. I hear that that's the preferred way that people like to drink Bud Light nowadays. Whitworth did not directly reference the brewer's decision to team up with transgender social media personality Dylan Mulvaney for the March Madness Bud Light promotional video. You'd probably have to, my guy. At this point in time, you got to address the elephant with the grafted on trunk in the room. A move that sparked off a brand boycott. Yes, not just Bud Light, but, an Anheuser-Busch boycott that hit sales volume in the months since. AB InBev will also provide financial support to independent wholesalers struggling to offload its beer. Oh, once again, are we going to see another campaign of, hey, basically just come buy this shit because we don't want to have to come up there and collect it. Fucking Christ. Including a sales incentive payment and reimbursing freight and fuel surcharges. Yo, what? Yo, so there, yeah. Like we speculated back when those beer buyback stories were coming out. Yeah, so they're covering all the logistics to go and pick up that shit and then to not take the reorders or the restocks. They're just covering everybody's wages. That's what you can get when you're such a big company. And then you also realize that, that beer that just overtook Bud Light for the #1 spot, you own the international distributing rights. So yeah, they're not all that concerned. That's why they can just kind of weasel walk their way through all of these different apologies, hoping that one will stick. Also reiterated CEO Michael Ducaris' comments that this is all disinformation, shut up stupid plebs, stop making noise. That company would be investing and protect the jobs of its frontline employees. Aw, that's fantastic stuff. I can't wait. I cannot wait for that advertising campaign because it's going to be so fucking bad. Oh, they're going to get roasted. They're going to get ratioed. I'd imagine that they probably won't even have the comments turned on off rip, but I guess we have something to look forward to next week. Ooh, and what a perfect timing for that because next week is the 20th, so a couple of weeks right before the extended long weekend that will be Independence Day. For us, Canada Day is, what does that end up working out to? Is that Saturday or Sunday or some shit like that? We have our own built-in long weekend ahead, but our biggest beer, well, it's kind of under the Molson Coors banner. Molson, obviously, Molson Canadian, that's kind of our go-to up here. Not a lot of Budweiser, Bud Light, or anything like that gets drank in my neck of the woods. I don't drink any of this shit anyways. I just find this story to be infinitely hilarious. But the fact that, yeah, they're going to be dropping the brand new ad campaign, which they're supposedly doubling the funding of, oh boy, it's going to be fast. It's going to be furious. You're going to be seeing these Bud Light ads fucking everywhere. I'd imagine they're probably going to go up like a fart in church. Best of luck to you. I look forward to making more money off of reporting on this shit than Anheuser-Busch is going to make by pushing all of that stuff out there. If you want to join me on it, you know exactly where you're going to be finding it. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.